Hey everyone, how's it going? Time to do a little Jays talk. Today we're going to be recapping game number 24 between the Toronto Blue Jays and Baltimore Orioles. Um, as always, we don't really care who won the game, but it was nice to see some more meaningful matchups in this game. And what I mean by that is Cade Povich was starting for the Baltimore Orioles, and a lot of our regulars at least started the game for the Blue Jays. So it's kind of nice to see that major league level at bats taking place to start the game. Pretty, a little bit more meaningful than some of the other at bats earlier on in the spring. Um, Given that the game went so lopsided for the Orioles, we're going to fall back on the spring training doesn't matter though to make ourselves feel better. I'll start with the hitting side. Hopefully, this is popping up on the screen beside me here now. I'm testing out some new things today. Bo Bichette, 1 for 2, had an RBI, hit a home run. Nice to see. Leo Jimenez came in for him. He's another one of those guys fighting for the last bench spot. Vladdy came in, had an at bat, or had two at bats, I should say. He walked and had a strikeout. Wagner replaced him at first base. It's interesting to see Will Wagner play so much first base, and even in that last game where Wagner was first base and Vladdy was third, I thought coming into spring training that Wagner's defense might translate to third base a little bit better. I thought he might be given more run there, and if he really hits the ground running, maybe you have a platoon situation with Ernie Clement. You have the lefty-righty split, but they just do not appear to be interested in that at all. So, fair play. They're telling us without telling us that, they don't like Wagner at third base, in my opinion. Santander got carved up a little bit, didn't have a great showing. Davis Schneider came in for him. Davis Schneider is another guy fighting for that last bench spot, and against a starter like Cade Povich, it'd be a good time to actually see him in there because that could be a real role for him. Is playing left field. We have a lot of left-handed hitting outfielders, so if Davis Schneider could really mash some of those lefties, that would be a great fit for him as a platoon option at minimum, and a good way for him to make sure he's getting semi-regular at bats. Dalton Varsho at DH. So we recently heard that it sounds like he's starting on the IL. They didn't. I should say, I believe it was John Schneider, didn't shut down the possibility of starting him on the IL. It didn't sound like they were too interested in bringing him north if all he could do was DH. It seems like they want to wait until he's full-blown ready to play defense and everything before they activate him. So he's a guy that could be opening up an interesting roster spot here to start the season for the first week or two. Alan Roden pitch hit for him. I've mentioned this a lot of times now. Between him and Orelvis, I want to see them get in and succeed in pinch hitting situations because of how critical it could be to getting them onto the roster. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to do much with that at bat, but, such small sample sizes, it's hard to read into. George Springer continues to struggle. I don't have much doubt that he will be given an opportunity to start opening day and probably a handful of games, end of March, early April. But I think his leash is going to be incredibly short. And as you can see by his numbers here, he is just not getting anything done. Unless he's really working on some stuff and we're going to see a different version of him come regular season, I think everybody is rightfully concerned about George Springer. The way I see this going is, as you can see, Joey Loperfido came in and replaced him. I think that's what we're going to see very early on this year. It's going to be Springer starts out as your right fielder, then he gets moved to kind of a platoon bench role, and then if he doesn't get it going by, say, mid-season, probably not even that long, he's got to be a DFA candidate or a salary dump of some kind because, it's just not good enough as it stands. Andres Jimenez, he's doing his thing. His defense gives him a really high floor. His bat is, basically everything you can get there is bonus. He has been hitting quite well. But the longer spring's gone on, the more comfortable I am with batting him 6 or 7 with Kirky behind him like they want, and the less I'm seeing him as a true 1 or 2 option. I think that he's going to have to stick in the middle of the order there somewhere batting in front of Kirk, and you're going to try and get some nice production from the bottom end there, but I don't see him really moving up, at least on a full-time basis. Uri Clement getting the start at third base. He seems like he's just run away with a third base job at this point. I don't think that there's any real doubt, in my mind at least, that he's your everyday third baseman to start the season. And then luckily we got a bit of competition like the Addison Barger who came in for him here, and maybe later on Orelvis, but I don't know how much defensive play Elvis gets at third base. Maybe plays the first few innings of a game, 6, 7 innings, and then gets subbed out. But yeah, his defense looked pretty shaky. So I still see him as more of a DH option long term, unless he's really hitting the ball like crazy. Then you might stomach the defense at third base. But yeah, Ernie Clement appears to have run away with that spot in spring training. Nathan Lucas got the start in center field with Miles Straw coming in. I don't think Lucas will make the team just by how things have been going. I think Miles Straw is actually running away with that spot over Lucas if Varsho is unable to go. And I think Roden is probably in the minors to start the year or a corner outfield bat. Loperfido maybe is getting that fourth outfielder spot to start the year because he has the flexibility to play some center, to play some left, to play some right. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Miles Straw in center field for the first week or two of the year. And it's kind of his spot to lose, in my opinion. That's what I'm seeing anyways, with, having a Joey Loperfido and Alan Roden in the minors and Varsho coming back to kind of spell him out if it's not going well. And that's the thing to keep in mind with all of these hitters is whatever happens on opening day doesn't mean a lot. The roster is going to change. The lineup is going to change a lot. So yeah, if we see George Springer, batting 7th or batting 6th in right field on opening day, you don't love to see it. But I mean, if he doesn't produce, I think he's on a short leash this year, and that goes for a lot of these guys that are kind of on the bubble. I think we see a lot of shuffling going on in the first month of the season. On the pitching side, I was upset by Eric Lauer because he's a guy that I have high hopes for, just as I mentioned in my last video with Pete Walker being able to figure something out with him. He looked really good in the first inning and then kind of fell apart. He obviously let up 5 runs in 3 innings. That's not what you want to see. 3 of them were home runs. The velocity's ticking up a bit. Slider looks sharp, but, the results speak, and he'll have to dial that in if he wants to get a start for the Blue Jays anytime this year. Ryan Yarbrough came in and got touched up a little bit there for 2 earned runs in an inning and a third. And then we kind of went through the bullpen, Lavallee, Walker, Barnes, I don't know how to say that one, Brule, and Gowdy. Gowdy's looked all right. He started out a little bit shaky, but he's come around. I don't think any of these guys are making the major league team, at least to start the year. Josh Walker, I would say, has the best chance to be. I don't consider Ryan Yarbrough a lefty reliever, even though I'm aware he's left-handed, because he's a bulk inning guy. He's not coming in to face 3 batters that are, like left-handed for the most part. He's more of an opener or going, over an inning in his outings. So I don't really view him as a lefty reliever. I think that Brendan Little will be the lefty, and then Josh Walker feels like he's next in line for that lefty reliever spot, in my opinion. And as I mentioned, on the Orioles side of things, they did face Cade Povich today, who is definitely one of their better pitchers, and he did a really good job. He no-hit us through 5 innings, so there's really not much you can take away from that in a positive light. We faced a good starting pitcher, and, he torched through the lineup pretty easily, in my opinion. So, yeah, not what you want to see this close to the regular season, but, hey, we're still in spring training, so we're going to use that excuse. Let me know what you guys think. What did you observe today? How are you feeling about the bench situation? Is George Springer concerning you? Let me know what you guys are kind of thinking right now. We'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye-bye.